Master trapper and tanner Tom Orr gained a huge following when he featured in History Channel's Mountain Men.
For years, Tom Orr was the rugged face of mountain men, living off the land and capturing hearts with his old-school survival skills. Then, without warning, he vanished from the show, leaving fans stunned and full of questions. What really happened to this modern-day frontiersman? Was it health issues, personal choice, or something far more mysterious? Behind the scenes, whispers and wild theories have swirled. Today, we uncover the truth about Tom's sudden exit, and trust us, the real story is even more surprising than the rumors. Mountain Men TV show. On the surface, Mountain Men might seem like just another reality TV show, but what it offers is something far more raw and real. This hit series from the History Channel pulls back the curtain on a world most of us only ever glimpse through stories, where everyday life is a test of willpower, where survival isn't a metaphor, and where comfort is measured in firewood, clean water, and a full pantry before winter sets in. The show transports viewers deep into America's wild frontiers, following those rare individuals who've turned their backs on modern life, choosing instead to build a life on their terms, off the grid, in the heart of unforgiving nature. Each episode isn't just a show, it's a window into a way of life most have forgotten. Viewers meet men who don't just live in the wilderness, they are shaped by it. Among them, three figures rise above the rest, not just for their survival skills, but for the sheer force of character they bring to the screen: Eustace Conway, Tom Orr, and Marty Maiorotto. In the misty hills of North Carolina, Eustace Conway carves out a life that feels plucked straight from another century. Driven by a mission to keep ancient survival knowledge alive, Eustace doesn't just live off the land, he teaches others how to do the same. His daily grind is a mix of teaching, crafting, and managing the constant threats of weather and wild animals. Yet, his portrayal has stirred controversy, with some fans questioning just how authentic his scenes are. Far to the north, Marty Maiorotto braves Alaska's bitter wilderness, a place where -40-degree days are just part of the routine. Marty is all grit, piloting his bush plane into isolated trapping grounds, cutting firewood in deep snow, and battling exhaustion in the kind of cold that steals your breath. For him, it's not about escaping modern life, it's about embracing a different kind of freedom. His quiet resilience and no-nonsense approach to danger earned him a devoted fan base that admired his strength and humility. But it's in the rugged landscape of Montana's Yak River Valley that viewers met a man who would become the soul of the series, Tom Orr. A retired rodeo cowboy with leathery hands, a kind smile, and eyes that seemed to have seen 1,000 winters, Tom became more than a character, he became a symbol of enduring spirit. From handcrafting traditional animal hide garments to preparing year-round for a brutal 7-month winter, Tom's life is a living reflection of the old ways. No shortcuts, no drama, just pure, hard-earned survival. Together, these men represent something quietly radical, a return to simplicity, a life stripped of clutter, where each choice carries weight and each mistake could cost more than just comfort. Mountain Men doesn't just show danger, it reveals the beauty of being in sync with nature, of living by your code, and of finding meaning in the everyday struggles that most of us never face. Still, among the entire cast, no story struck a deeper chord than that of Tom Orr. As the seasons rolled on, fans noticed subtle changes, longer silences, slower movements, and eventually, an absence that sparked countless questions. And that is where the mystery only gets deeper. What happened to Tom? What pushed this mountain legend into seclusion? Stay with us, as we now come to the middle of his story, Tom and Nancy. But what was the secret they wordlessly kept in the cold of Montana's wilderness? Into the Wild Together, the untold journey of Tom and Nancy Orr. The moment Tom met Nancy, a new chapter quietly began, one not just filled with adventure, but built on something deeper: love, trust, and an unshakable desire to live life on their terms. It was the late 1970s when the couple made a decision most would never dare to consider. They packed everything they owned into an old, weathered pickup truck, a truck, by the way, they paid for with muskrat pelts, and headed into the heart of Montana. No roadmap, no guarantees, just a shared dream of trading the noise of society for the silence of the wild. Their arrival in the Montana wilderness marked the beginning of a journey as demanding as it was breathtaking. The winters were brutal. temperatures plunged, food was sometimes scarce, and their bodies ached from the unrelenting cold. But Tom and Nancy didn't break. If anything, those hard days only deepened their bond and strengthened their resolve. They weren't just surviving out there, they were slowly becoming one with the land. Then came a turning point, one that would shape the rest of their lives. During a trip to Billings, Tom wandered into a small American Indian shop and stumbled upon something ancient yet oddly familiar, the art of brain tanning. This age-old method of softening and preserving animal hides, using the very brains of the animals themselves, lit a fire in Tom. He studied it, practiced it, and before long, mastered it. That simple moment of discovery opened a new path, not just a way to make a living, but a deeper connection to the life they had chosen. Their skill in brain tanning soon brought them into contact with a wider community of off-the-grid artisans and wilderness enthusiasts, especially at the annual Black Powder Rendezvous. Here, Tom's talents truly shone. People weren't just impressed, they were inspired. Tom wasn't just another man living in the woods. He was a craftsman, a teacher, and in many ways, a symbol of a fading but deeply respected tradition. But Tom never walked that path alone. Nancy was there through every snowfall, every setback, and every small victory. She learned to trap, to hunt, and to survive just as fiercely as Tom did. Their life in the Yak River Valley became more than just a story of self-reliance. It became a living example of what it means to build something lasting with your bare hands, to turn wilderness into home, and to do it all side by side with the one you love. Of course, it wasn't always easy. There were health scares, long stretches of isolation, and constant brushes with danger, from wild animals to the merciless weather. But through it all, Tom and Nancy never wavered. They didn't just endure the wilderness, they thrived in it. And as the years passed, their story evolved into something even greater, a legacy. Tom, now in his 80s, has passed on more than just survival skills. He's handed down a way of life, a philosophy rooted in simplicity, respect for the earth, and the unshakable belief in living true to yourself. From rodeo rings to mountain peaks, the rise of Tom Orr. Long before Tom Orr became a beloved figure in the world of wilderness living, he was a young man chasing a very different dream, one that roared beneath the bright lights of rodeo arenas, filled with the thundering of hooves and the raw thrill of competition. His journey from the chaos of the rodeo to the quiet, demanding wilds of Montana reads less like a career shift and more like an epic transformation, driven by courage, hard lessons, and an unstoppable hunger for freedom. Tom's story begins in Rockford, Illinois, where the countryside was more than just a place to grow up, it was a proving ground. Born into a family where horseback riding wasn't just encouraged but expected, Tom's path was shaped early on by the rhythm of hooves and the smell of leather. Alongside his brother and under the watchful eye of their father, Tom learned the art of trick riding. For most kids, riding a horse would be enough. But Tom? He wanted more. Even as a boy, he had a spark, the kind of spirit that refused to settle for the ordinary. By the age of 15, that spark had turned into fire. Hitchhiking with nothing but a bull rope in his rigging bag, Tom made his way to Ohio to compete in his first rodeo. It was the beginning of a wild and dangerous ride that would last over 2 decades. Throughout the 1960s, he carved out a name for himself in the International Rodeo Association, not just competing, but winning. Again and again, he placed in the top 10, becoming a respected figure in the bull riding world. His fearlessness, his technique, and his stubborn drive earned him the admiration of peers and the cheers of fans. But the rodeo life comes with risks, and Tom knew them all too well. In 1970, during what should have been just another ride, he faced a bull known as Woolly Bugger. What happened next would change his life forever. Thrown violently and trampled, Tom was knocked unconscious, suffering serious injuries. That moment, the pain, the blackout, the brutal reminder of his own mortality, stayed with him. And though he didn't walk away from the rodeo immediately, something in him had shifted. It wasn't fear that pulled him away. It was clarity. Over the next decade, the rodeo began to lose its shine. The thrill was still there, but so was the understanding that he wanted something more, something deeper. In 1981, Tom made the life-altering decision to hang up his gear. But rather than see it as an end, he viewed it as a beginning. The wild was calling, and this time, it wasn't with roaring crowds and spotlights, it was with quiet winds and open skies. Tom's early years weren't just exciting, they were formative. The rodeo didn't just teach him how to fall, it taught him how to get up, how to push forward, and how to live with intensity and intention. These traits would become the bedrock of his life in the Montana wilderness, a place where toughness, patience, and ingenuity are not just useful, but necessary for survival. So when he left the arena, he didn't leave behind his edge. He brought it with him into the forests, rivers, and snow-covered valleys, where he and Nancy began crafting a new kind of legacy, one not defined by trophies, but by resilience, respect for nature, and an unshakable bond. But even the toughest spirits reach breaking points, medical problems. But what exactly drove Tom to slow down after all those years of unrelenting drive? When the wilderness fights back, Tom Orr's health battles and the weight of fame. For years, Tom Orr stood as a towering symbol of rugged determination and backwoods wisdom on mountain men. A seasoned outdoorsman, a master of survival, and a living relic of a vanishing lifestyle, Tom seemed nearly invincible. Viewers were drawn not just to the wild landscape of Montana, but to the calm, unshakable presence of a man who had tamed it. So when Tom stepped out of the spotlight, even briefly, fans couldn't help but worry, something was wrong. That worry turned into concern during season 11 of the show, when an unexpected health scare forced Tom to face a challenge he couldn't track, trap, or wrestle to the ground. One night, Tom began struggling to breathe. The difficulty came on suddenly, without warning, and it was serious enough to push both Tom and his wife Nancy into emergency mode. With no hospitals nearby and no neighbors to call, the couple drove nearly 80 miles, over 120 kilometers, through rough terrain to reach the nearest health facility in Libby, Montana. For a man who had never needed to see a doctor for anything major, this moment hit hard. His body, which had endured decades of punishing rodeo stunts, icy winters, and wilderness wear and tear, was finally beginning to show signs of wear. Tom was diagnosed with heart failure. His heart wasn't pumping as strongly as it should, and fluid was building up in his lungs, making every breath a struggle. Doctors wasted no time. Medications were started immediately, and Tom was fitted with a heart monitor to keep track of any abnormalities. Given the remoteness of his home, specialists also recommended he wear a defibrillator vest, a stark reminder that even the strongest mountain men have limits. But what stood out during this tough time wasn't just the diagnosis. It was the quiet strength of the couple's bond. Nancy, always his partner in life and survival, stepped up in new ways. She took on more of the physical load, managed day-to-day tasks, and supported Tom as he adjusted to this new phase of life. Their rhythm changed. But their resolve remained unshaken. Viewers who had admired their off-grid lifestyle now witnessed something even more powerful, a love forged through fire and frost, now weathering the slow, creeping test of time and illness. Their journey to the clinic wasn't just about medical care, it was a confrontation with reality. They were forced to consider whether the life they'd built in the wild, far from modern aid, could still support them as they aged. For fans, it was a sobering reminder that no matter how skilled or seasoned someone is, the human body has its limits. And yet, Tom's spirit didn't falter. Backed by Nancy's tireless devotion, he carried on, showing viewers what real resilience looks like, not just chopping wood or surviving a blizzard, but facing down mortality with grace. But Tom and Nancy's challenges weren't limited to health alone. As their popularity grew, a different kind of test emerged, one that struck at the heart of the life they had worked so hard to preserve. Fame. In a candid interview with the Kootenai Valley Times, Tom shared the less glamorous side of being a TV star in the wilderness. Despite choosing a home tucked deep within the vast Cabinet Mountains, the couple's once private retreat became a hotspot for curious visitors. Tourists, fans, and even honeymooners from as far away as Switzerland made the trek, hoping to catch a glimpse of the real-life mountain man. One summer, the foot traffic became overwhelming, turning their sanctuary into a tourist attraction. Tom appreciated the support and love from fans, never taking their admiration for granted. But he couldn't ignore the toll it took on their peace, the very thing they had once sought in Montana's vast, untamed spaces. And when you combine constant visitors with a declining heart, the path forward starts to look a lot different. The truth behind the rumors: is Tom Orr still alive? When Mountain Men first aired in 2012, Tom Orr quickly became a fan favorite. As one of the original cast members, he stood out not just for his wilderness skills, but for the calm wisdom that came from decades of living close to nature. But as the years went by, fans found themselves worrying, not about the usual dangers of mountain life, but about something far more human: Tom's age and health. As he moved into his late 70s and then into his 80s, questions about Tom's well-being began swirling online. The farther someone lives from modern civilization, the harder it is to get solid updates, and that distance gave rise to confusion, worry, and eventually, an internet-fueled rumor mill. It all came to a head in 2020, when a media outlet published a fake obituary claiming Tom Orr had passed away. It wasn't just a simple mistake. The obituary was detailed, painting a believable picture of his life and supposed death. It seemed real enough to fool many fans who, without stopping to verify the source, began sharing it widely on social media. Tributes poured in, condolences were posted, and the rumor spread like wildfire. What made it worse was the timing. Around the same period, Tom had noticeably reduced his appearances on the show. After season 9, viewers began noticing that he wasn't as present as before. With his advanced age and history of a real medical emergency in season 11, where he struggled with serious breathing issues in the middle of the night, many fans assumed the worst. That particular episode revealed a worrying diagnosis: Tom's heart was weakening, and fluid had started building up in his lungs. Though he got medical help and pushed forward, the moment added fuel to the already spreading rumors about his death. The blend of a fake obituary and a documented health scare was enough to convince a large portion of the fanbase that Tom was gone. Many media outlets, especially those that prioritize clicks over accuracy, ran with the story, further confusing audiences who had grown emotionally attached to the beloved mountain man. Then, in 2024, the rumor returned with new strength. This time, some sources reported that Tom had passed away peacefully in Lakeland, Florida, at the age of 81. They gave no clear cause of death, just vague statements that left readers wondering if it was finally true. But at the same time, other sources firmly insisted that Tom Orr was alive and well, enjoying a quieter life away from the cameras, possibly retired but certainly not gone. So what's the truth? Despite the noise, more reliable sources have confirmed that Tom Orr is, in fact, still alive. While he may not appear as often on Mountain Men, he remains very much a part of the real-world wilderness he helped bring to our screens. And though his absence may have sparked worry, it's not uncommon for those who live close to nature to crave privacy after years in the public eye. Still wild at heart, Tom Orr's hesitant dance with retirement. Tom Orr has lived a life most of us only dream about: wild, free, and fiercely connected to nature. But even the strongest spirits eventually face the reality of age, and in recent years, Tom's thoughts have started turning toward the future. After a long and rugged journey from rodeo arenas to the isolated beauty of Montana's wilderness, he's now asking himself a tough question: what does life after the mountains look like? From bucking bulls to trapping in snow-covered valleys, Tom's journey has always been filled with grit and adventure. He often jokes that he was born 150 years too late, and it's clear that he was made for a simpler time, a time when life was raw, real, and ruled by nature. But as both he and Nancy grow older, their lifestyle demands more than just strength. It requires endurance, and that's becoming harder to sustain. Tom's remarks about possibly ending up stretched out over the fleshing block might sound morbid, but they come from a place of humor and acceptance. He's not afraid of the future, he's just realistic about it. He's never been one to shy away from change, and talk of possibly relocating to Florida reflects that mindset. The idea isn't about giving up, it's about finding balance, a place where they can enjoy a slower pace while still holding on to their wild roots. To Tom, retirement doesn't mean quitting life, it means adapting to it. But the mere mention of it has stirred up all kinds of speculation. When he took a step back from the show, many fans were left in the dark. And in the absence of clear answers, the internet did what it always does, filled the silence with rumors. At the heart of it all was confusion, sparked by Tom's reduced screen time and his absence from certain episodes. Viewers noticed, questioned, and speculated. Was he sick? Had he retired? Was he gone? The lack of any public statement from Tom or the show's producers only added fuel to the fire. And when an old and false obituary made the rounds online, claiming Tom had passed away, fans panicked. The post spread quickly, especially since it included personal details that made it sound convincing. Even though it wasn't eventually, Tom did reappear on Mountain Men, and with him, the rumors of his death quieted down. But they were quickly replaced by a new theory. Had he retired to Florida with Nancy for good? After all, it's true that the couple spends their off-seasons in the Sunshine State, resting up before returning to the wilderness. That pattern, combined with his declining appearances, only strengthened fan suspicions. Even Tom himself seemed uncertain. In a reflective moment, he wondered aloud, what does it even mean to retire? Do you just sit there? It's a question that reveals just how deeply he's wrestled with the idea. Can someone who's lived such a full, active life switch off the wild? So far, the answer has been no. Despite the rumors, despite the health scares, and despite the biting cold, Tom and Nancy are still standing strong. Season 11 opened with the couple prepping for yet another brutal winter. In episode 2, Tom was seen working with his longtime trapping partner Sean McAfee, heart monitor and all. Has the mountain finally started to get to Tom? Or is he simply adjusting to change, life in Yak River Valley? Find out, because what comes next may surprise you. Enduring the wild, Tom and Nancy's unbreakable bond with the Yak River Valley. In the heart of Montana's unforgiving wilderness, Tom and Nancy Orr's journey continues to inspire awe. Their life in the remote Yak River Valley, as seen on Mountain Men, is more than a survival story. It's a testament to resilience, devotion, and the deep bond between humans and nature. For years, they've lived off-grid, weathering brutal winters and unpredictable wild conditions with unwavering determination. But recent seasons of the show have painted a slightly different picture, one tinged with the inevitability of time and change. As Tom's age and health concerns begin to surface more frequently, whispers of retirement and relocation grow louder. Viewers have watched with a mix of concern and admiration as Tom, despite past health scares, continues to brave the elements. Season 11 brought a particularly moving glimpse into this reality, as Tom and Nancy prepare for another long, punishing winter in the valley. Despite everything, they pressed on, gathering supplies, fortifying their home, and facing the cold with the same grit that's made them beloved figures on the show. But the challenges aren't just physical. With Mountain Men's growing popularity, the Orr's once hidden sanctuary has become a destination for curious fans. The couple's cherished solitude has been increasingly interrupted by uninvited visitors. Tom has shared mixed feelings about this sudden fame. While he's touched by the admiration and loyalty of fans, the frequent intrusions have begun to weigh heavily. After all, they chose this lifestyle for its peace and simplicity, not celebrity. Then there's Florida. A softer climate. A quieter life. A potential retirement retreat. The idea of relocating southward during Montana's harshest months is becoming more appealing as the years go by. Tom's been candid about it, playfully wondering if retirement means giving up entirely or just finding a new rhythm. The couple hasn't made any final decisions yet, but the thought of slowing down in a place where winter doesn't bite so hard seems more and more like a logical step. Still, they remain tethered to the valley. It's not just home, it's a way of life. Nestled in the shadow of snow-capped peaks and thick forest, the Yak River Valley is no ordinary place. Winter here isn't a season, it's a battle. Temperatures plunge, snow piles high, and survival depends on skill, planning, and willpower. But as the snow melts and summer breathes life into the land, new trials arise. Flooded rivers, hungry wildlife, and a never-ending need to prepare for what's next. Tom and Nancy know this land intimately. They understand the rhythm of the wild better than most people ever will. They've built their lives around it, not just surviving but thriving in a place that demands everything. In their story, we see something primal, something lost in modern convenience. A life where every day matters, where self-reliance is key, and where connection to nature is a lifeline, not a luxury. The quiet legacy of Tom Orr in his mountain men life. Tom Orr's journey through life has been anything but ordinary. Before becoming a familiar face on Mountain Men, Tom shared a deeply personal chapter of his life with his first wife, Janice Fraser. The timeline of their union remains a mystery, but what we do know is that their relationship brought forth 2 children, Keely and Chad. Sadly, their story took a heart-wrenching turn when Keely passed away in 2015. Her loss cast a long shadow over the Orr family, marking a period of unimaginable sorrow. For Tom, grieving in silence would have been hard enough, but doing so under the watchful eye of the public made the experience even more emotionally complex. Yet, even amidst the tragedy, the Orr family's strength shone through. Tom's son, Chad, carried on with quiet resilience, finding peace and purpose far from the rugged Montana wilderness. Now living in Florida with his wife, Kim Burnett, Chad runs a thriving horse training center. Their work highlights a fascinating contrast to Tom's life, swapping the untamed mountains for the structured world of equestrian care in Ocala, Florida, famously known as the horse capital of the world. It's a testament to the Orr's diverse passions and talents, with each family member forging a path that honors their roots while exploring new terrains. Back on Mountain Men, Tom's story has been as emotional as it has been inspiring. One of the most memorable moments on the show was the celebration of Tom's birthday, a heartfelt tribute to his years of perseverance and the simple joy he finds in his wilderness lifestyle. But after that touching episode, Tom's sudden absence left fans puzzled. Where was he? Was he stepping away for good? This uncertainty only added to the emotional weight of the show, giving fans a glimpse into the real-life challenges the Orrs face off-screen. And yet, through each struggle, the family's deep bond and resilience shine, whether through Chad's new life, the memory of Keely, or the enduring love between Tom and his wife, Nancy. Tom's older brother, Jack Orr, may not share the same spotlight, but he's carved out a unique role of his own. With a quieter presence and a personality more reserved than Tom's, Jack has appeared in over 20 episodes of Mountain Men. Though he rarely seeks the limelight, his appearances never go unnoticed. Viewers admire Jack's calm, steady demeanor and the subtle yet powerful way he complements Tom's more outgoing nature. Their sibling dynamic adds a compelling layer to the show, offering viewers a glimpse into a lifestyle that values simplicity, tradition, and deep familial ties. Beyond the cameras, Tom, Jack, and Nancy channel their craftsmanship into a venture known as Willow Bend Trading Post. Through their popular Facebook page, they showcase handmade knives, leather goods, and other artisan items that fans can't get enough of. These products fly off the shelves, not just because of the show's fame, but because of the quality and authenticity behind each piece. This blend of old-world skills and modern-day exposure has turned their small operation into a thriving business. Tom's handmade moccasins, leather shirts, and traditional gear not only preserve a fading craft but have also contributed to his estimated net worth of around $200,000. Reports suggest his merchandise sales alone can rake in thousands per month, evidence of how his rugged lifestyle has transformed into a sustainable and admired brand. But behind the numbers lies something even more valuable, a life built on self-reliance, love for the wild, and the strength of family. Tom Orr's story is more than just a narrative of survival, it's a portrait of a life fully lived, shaped by nature's harsh truths and softened by enduring love. For over a decade on Mountain Men, fans witnessed a man whose grit, humility, and connection to the wild stood as a beacon in a world increasingly detached from the natural world. Through heart-pounding winters, near isolation, and moments of real danger, Tom and Nancy Orr carved out not just a living, but a legacy. And now, as age and health challenges start to shift their rhythm, what remains is not a tale of retreat, but a thoughtful evolution. The wilderness-shaped Tom honed him into a figure that symbolized strength, tradition, and authenticity. But as the years wore on and his health wavered, he was faced with battles no amount of skill or knowledge could fend off. The heart failure diagnosis in season 11 served as a stark reminder that even the most resilient bodies have limits. It was a turning point, one not of defeat, but of transition. With Nancy by his side, Tom confronted these challenges head-on, not just with medical interventions, but with the same quiet courage that once helped him survive snowstorms and solitude. Fame brought its own burdens. What was once a private mountain retreat turned into a fan destination. The stream of curious visitors, though well-meaning, chipped away at the tranquility the Orrs had fought so hard to protect. Their lifestyle, rooted in peace, independence, and the raw beauty of the land, was becoming compromised by celebrity. And yet, Tom never lashed out or lost grace. He remained grateful to fans, while quietly yearning for the simplicity he once enjoyed. The rumors of Tom's death, spread by misinformation and fueled by his reduced appearances, only underscored how deeply audiences care for him. The emotional weight of those false reports spoke volumes, not just about the void his absence would leave, but about the connection viewers feel to his way of life. It wasn't just about watching a man survive off-grid. It was about admiring someone who lived life on his own terms, fully and authentically. Retirement for Tom isn't a full stop, it's a shift in pace. Whether it's spending winters in Florida or slowing down the trapping season, Tom and Nancy are adapting. And adaptation, after all, has always been at the heart of their story. They remain tethered to the Yak River Valley, a place as much a part of their identity as the clothes they wear or the tools they craft. As this chapter of their journey winds down, what lingers is not sorrow but respect. Respect for a man who lived closer to the earth than most, for a couple whose bond withstood fire and frost, and for a life that has quietly taught millions what it means to endure. Tom Orr's story is not ending, it's simply entering a new season. And like all things in nature, change is not a loss, but a sign of life still moving forward. So, what do you think? We'd love to hear your thoughts on Tom Orr and his wife's journey. Drop your comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.